In the world, 90% of the people are right-handers whereas 10% are left-handed. Table tennis shares a similar stats with 90% of players being right-handed whereas 10% are left-handed. But did you know that there is a special group of people who chose to play with their non-dominant hand? We all know Xu Xin is a left-handed player, but you probably do not know that he actually writes with his right hand. And it's not only him who does this. Players like Lin Gaoyuan and Xu Xin are also left-handed players who are naturally right-handed. This seems to be very common for table tennis. Ding Ning, Zhou Yu and other table tennis stars also does this. Even legendary online table tennis coach Alois Rosario plays with his left hand despite being a right-hander. And this is not limited to table tennis. Other sports like tennis and badminton also has players doing so. For example, in tennis, Nadal, being a left-handed player on court, is also a right-hander in real life. And the GOAT of badminton, Lin Dan, a 5-time world champion and 2-time Olympic gold medalist, is also a right-handed person who plays with his left hand. So that raises the question, what's the big deal about using your left hand in racket sports? Hello, welcome to Golden Table Tennis. Today, we are going to go in-depth to the secrets of being a left-hander and why so many people chose to do this despite not being a natural left-hander. First things first, we need to understand that left-handers do have some natural advantages in table tennis. Let's break it down. Number 1. They are rare and opponents aren't used to them. Since about 90% of players are right-handed, most people grow up training against right-handers. So when you suddenly face a lefty, the spin, the angles, the service placement, everything feels awkward and unfamiliar. Number 2. They have wider forehand and serve angles. A lefty naturally can play wider shots from both backhands and forehands, making it very difficult for the opponent. Left-handers also have the ability to perform very wide serves to a righty's forehand and pull them out of position, creating easy openings for third ball attacks. Next up, they have an advantage in doubles. In doubles, a lefty-righty pair is ideal. Why? Because both players can stand side by side with their forehands covering the middle, making shot transitions smoother and more aggressive. You often see left-right pairings dominating in high-level doubles because of this natural synergy. For example, left-handers like Xu Xin and Xu Xin has been commonly known as double specialists, capturing titles in doubles in both men's and mixed doubles regardless of who they paired with. To further support the claims, there has actually been studies done on this topic. In 2014, German researcher Dr. Florian Loffing conducted a study that analyzed handedness among top 100 athletes in multiple sports, including table tennis. In elite table tennis, 26% of men are left-handed, whereas 19% of women are left-handed, which is double the percentage of the general population of 10%. And it's not a coincidence. The study revealed that left-handers may have more efficient inter-hemispheric communication, meaning faster coordination between the left and right sides of the brain. This could help in processing visual cues and making split-second decisions, ideal in fast reaction sports like table tennis. This could justify the statistics and why so many players opt to be left-handed. With so much strong evidence showing the advantages of being left-handed, you might think that left-handers are more successful than right-handers in table tennis, right? Well, the results say otherwise. History has shown that most successful and decorated players in table tennis have been right-handed. Players like Ma Long and Zhang Jike, both Grand Slam champions, are right-handed. Even in earlier generations, legends like Liu Guoliang and Waltner are both right-handed. So where are the left-handers? Well, they have always been around. From Hao Shuai and Chen Qi to Xu Xin and Lin Gaoyuan. Every generation has produced talented left-handed players. But despite their skills and high rankings, none of them managed to dominate on the bigger stages. They've struggled to win major titles like the Olympics or World Championships, and none of them reached the absolute top in terms of legacy. In fact, left-handed winners in the biggest events are extremely rare. There hasn't been a left-handed Olympic gold medalist in men's singles since Yu, and that was back in 1988, the very first time table tennis appeared in the Olympics. For the men's world championships, while Xu Xin recently broke the drought by winning the title in 2025, he was the first left-handed men's singles world champion this century. Before him, the last one was Jean-Philippe Gatien from France in 1993, 32 years ago. In fact, even left-handed players themselves has expressed struggles being a lefty. In an interview, Xu Xin once said that if he could go back in time and choose, he would rather be a right-hander. Yuan Litun also admitted in an interview that it's hard for left-handers to excel in singles, and that's why he now wants to focus on becoming a top doubles player instead. With results like these and even players themselves expressing frustration, you might be wondering, why do some people still choose to play with their non-dominant hand? Well, it's not always easy to explain. Players may do this for different reasons. In Xu Xin's case, he writes with his right hand, but his coach noticed that he was much better with his left hand. He used chopstick with his left, threw farther with his left, and even kicked harder with his left leg. Because of this, he was encouraged to play table tennis left-handed. Eventually became the top player in Jiangsu province for his age group. As for the other players, there's no public explanation. It could be strategic, or perhaps their parents or coaches encourage them to be ambidextrous. Most players start so young that they don't get to make those decisions themselves. And when you're just starting out, you're going to be bad at the sport anyway. So whether you use your right hand or left hand doesn't make a difference at all. So what's the verdict? Is being left-handed an advantage or disadvantage? Honestly, I can't say definitively. I'm not a left-hander myself, but I can offer two perspectives that I think are worth considering. First of all, it might just be a case of probability. Right-handers make up the vast majority of the population, so naturally they have more players in the pool, and with a bigger pool, you simply have a higher chance of producing elite talents. I mean, ask yourself this. Do you think it's easier to find a prodigy among 200 right-handed players or 50 left-handers? Obviously, the group with 200 has a better shot. Secondly, we should consider that a player's success may have nothing to do with handedness at all. Take Xu Xin for example, a true legend of the game, but despite all his achievement, he never reached a World Championship final and was never selected for Olympic singles. Do you think that is because he has a disadvantage as a left-hander, or is it just simply because Ma Long and Zhang Jike were dominating the scene at that time? What about Lin Gaoyuan? He is undeniably talented, but he struggled on the big stage. Is that because being a left-handed hindered his success, or because his mental game and repeated losses to foreign players? And look at the rivalry between Fan Zhendong and Wang Chuqin. Fan leads the head-to-head by 27 wins to 5 losses. Is that because Wang is left-handed, or is it because Fan Zhendong is just insanely good? And now that Wang Chuqin is finally the world champion, is it because he had a left-handed advantage, or simply because he is now the best player in the world? These are things worth thinking about. In the end, I think both right-handers and left-handers can become great players. There probably isn't any real solid advantage to being left-handed over right-handed. If there's any advantage of being left-handed, it's probably just in the rarity. And if there are any disadvantage being a left-hander, it's probably insignificantly small that it is negligible. Despite being rare, left-hander success is not non-existent. Other sports like badminton have very successful left-handers like Lin Dan. He used left hand despite being a righty, and he is a 5-time world champion and 2-time Olympic gold medalist. Same for tennis. Nadal is a left-handed player who is also a 22-time Grand Slam and one of the big three of tennis. Even coming back to table tennis, we do have a left-handed Grand Slam, and it is Ding Ning. She won all 3 major titles during her career and has achieved a Grand Slam, just not in the men's game. So I don't think it's a matter of left-handers can't make it, it is more likely a matter of not yet. And if there's really any disadvantage to being a left-hander, it might not come from handedness itself, but rather external factors, and this has been confirmed by Xu Xin. While Xu Xin did mention that he would want to become a right-hander due to inherent difficulties as a lefty, it is not because left-handedness is weak, but because there is a systemic disadvantage for left-handers in China. According to Xu Xin, most training systems, strategies, and video analysis are designed around right-handers. In a national team of 5 players, where 4 are right-handed, training is tailored to suit the majority. So during play analysis, when players watch video reviews to learn, it is more appropriate for 4 right-handers to analyze a lefty's match than to have 1 lefty analyze a righty's match and have 4 other righties waste their time just to watch you. That makes it harder for the 1 left-hander to learn and grow in a system not built for them. Xu Xin even posted on Weibo expressing his relief and happiness that a new training program focused on supporting left-handed players was finally introduced in 2022, confirming that left-handers has really been overlooked. But I'll leave it to you. If there are any left-handers watching this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever experienced any advantage or disadvantage being a lefty? Are you a natural left-hander, or did you also choose to train with your non-dominant hand? Let me know your opinions in the comment section below. I'd love to discuss with you. With that, I'll wrap up today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.